Hey guys, it's Maymay, and we are continuing in our Christmas series, or our gift series, and today we're doing a quilling project. I'm going to be using this quilling pack, which is sold in our store at maymaymadeit.com, and I picked up this picture frame at our Dollar General, or you could get them at the Dollar Tree or Walmart, whatever's convenient for you. This one was only $4, and I like the solid white of it. I wanted to make sure it had an 8 by 10 opening. That was the big thing that I was concerned about, so I picked that up. And then I went online. If you haven't noticed, we're going to be doing a letter. It's the first time I've ever done a quilled letter. I don't know how it's going to turn out. We're going to try this together and see. But I went online and I found a letter that I liked, and I printed it in a very, very pale gray color. This is on paper because I'm going to show you one process, and I also did it on cardstock. This one didn't turn out so great. I'm going to use this other one because I think it's a little paler and it will work better for what I want. You probably can barely see it, but I think it'll work better. So there's two processes for this. The first thing is you just have to be able to see your outline. And also, this is an 8 by 10 frame. So can you see that I put a little square around the edge of this page in the printing process? That's so I can trim this down to 8 by 10. So I'm going to do that real quick. This way, it doesn't matter how it really prints on the page, and mine is crooked. But when I trim this off on that line, I will have an 8 by 10 piece for my picture frame. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to leave that one there so you can see just how crooked this printed. And I knew that would happen. My printer has gotten old and it loves to print crooked. So I thought if I just go ahead and put the 8 by 10 on there, the square, then I'll know when I trim it out it's going to fit in my frame. There's that one, and then this one, just like so. So you can see how uneven all those pieces are, but now I know I have an 8 by 10 piece, and I've centered this in the middle. And if it's not perfectly centered, don't worry about that because we're going to be quilling around it. So you can always add some more little tendrils here or up there, wherever you want to kind of fill in space. All right. This is process number one. I can see this K. You probably can't. I hope that you can, but it might be hard for you to see. But I'm going to show you another way in case you don't want to do it that same way. So let's say you wanted to do it on a dark piece of paper or something like this. You could take that letter that we printed on our printer, and I would trim it out again and make sure it's nice and square. And then you can take your embossing tool, okay? And you could even put a piece of foam behind this if you wanted to. I have a little piece of foam here, so you could put it back behind your letter, okay? Okay, haha. And then you can score this letter onto the piece underneath, because all you need is the outline of the letter. I would take my time because you want it to be, fairly accurate because you're going to be quilling over the top of it. But you can score it down like this. Now, here's the thing. I've just been on the internet watching these quilling videos and seeing what I think will work for me. And that's what I suggest for you too. Do a lot of searching because there's a lot of people that do a lot of things differently. So basically, you would just score this letter. Okay, and then when you look on that darker piece of paper, you can then see your lines. So if you wanted to quill on a dark piece, that's a great option. So this is actually cardstock that I ran through the printer. All right, what I need to decide is what color I want to outline my K in. Actually, I think I'm going to pick all of my colors really quick. This set has some really cool colors in it. I like this dark green, so I think I'll separate that out. So from that pack, I decided to use these colors together. I think they're pretty. It's a green, a white, a pale blue, and then another blue, and then some pink. I may not use the white at all because I have the white background, but I pulled them out just in case. Now, just so you know, these pieces are cut very narrow. I want to say these are about 1/8 of an inch. Let me put a ruler on them. Yep, these are 1/8 inch wide. And they're about 20 inches long, if I had to guess. So I'm just guessing on that. But that really won't matter because if you get an 1/8 inch wide, you can always add to it. I'm going to do the outline of the letter in this dark green. Now, my strip is kind of bent from being in the package, so I'm just going to kind of work it in my finger and kind of straighten that out a little bit. Just like that. These are very delicate. So I've got my tweezers here in case I need them. And I'm using my fine metal tip on my art glitter glue because I want to run just a fine bead of glue around this K. Now, if you're using art glitter glue, it dries really fast, so I'm going to take my time and do a section at a time. So I'm going to start with this little section here and stick that into place, and I'm just laying the paper on its side. All right, and then I'm thinking I'm going to take my tweezers and grab it where I want to turn it and then make that turn. And then put it into the rest of that glue. So let's just see if we can try that one more time. I might should have been it first. That would have been fine too. So I'm just going to let that sit there and dry in that glue. Now, if you get kind of a bead of glue, I'm going to kind of run that bead to the inside of the letter because I'm going to come back and fill this in with more quilling. So the more that it's to the inside, the less it's going to show. Another way I've seen people do the glue is to put the glue on a card and slide the card underneath the quilling strip to get the glue on it. But I'm going to do it this way because I think this will work just fine. The big tip I think you're going to get is to keep glue off of your tweezers because then you'll have a mess. All right, so if I go back to where my K ends, which is here, hold on to that and make that turn. Just let that sit till it dries. Come right underneath and put a little glue for that strip. This part is gonna be tedious. Getting the outline is not gonna be super fast. You're gonna need to take your time. But once you have it all outlined, the rest is gonna be super easy. I also saw different people taking straight pins and putting this on their piece of cork, you know, like your quilling board that has the cork. I saw people doing that and using straight pins to pin it into place. But I really think I can do this without. So I'm gonna try without. But if you need to, that's another option. So I'm going to make this turn by grabbing my tweezers and holding the edge as I make the bend. And I'm just kind of letting the paper do that bend for me, and now I've made the turn on the K like that. It's not hard to do. It seems like it is. It probably is going to seem intimidating at first, but it's really not hard to do. I think you'll have fun. Again, take your time on this portion because the rest of it is going to be easy. I saw one person that I watched take a paintbrush and come in and rub the glue on the inside to kind of get any bead down that they'd done. And I think this is going to work the same with my dual-ended embossing tool and using the smaller end. And that way, I'm not having to mess up a paintbrush with the glue. So I can clean it right off of that. It's sticking. It's not taking that long. I'm going to just keep going and let you guys watch me in fast motion. Another theory I have is the easier or the more blocky the letter you choose, I think the better this will go. So before I glue this down, I'm going to make that turn. Then I'm going to go ahead and make this turn as well. Putting my tweezers there, pulling the paper to make that turn. And then I can glue all that down at one time. So one strip got me that far around the letter. That's pretty good if you ask me. Now, one thing I do think is I wouldn't want to have to piece one in the curve. So if you ever think you're going to have to piece one of the strips, try to do it in a straightaway. I think you'll do better that way. Again, I've never done this before, so I'm learning at the same time you are. So I'm putting a tiny bit of glue on here, and I'm just going to connect, just barely let them overlap so as not to build too much bulk. Then I'm going to let my tweezers push that together for me. Just like that. Let that dry for a second, and then I'm going to finish out the outline of the K. This has not been a hard process, but it has been delicate and time-consuming. I think it's probably taken me 20 or so minutes to do this. I mean, that may not be too bad, and I think the rest of it will go really quick. Now where it's ended, I'm going to snip this away, just holding my scissors straight up and down and do a little snip. And just take one piece off. I've left a little bit because once this dries, I think I'm going to wrap that back around just as a little safety net there. But I'm going to let that dry for just a second. It won't take it but a second, and then I can kind of maneuver it. So to wrap it back around, I'm going to grab that edge with my tweezers again, as close to that bend as I can. There we go, and then bend it. Then I can glue those two together. Put a little glue on this little section and bring that in. And again, I'm gonna let my tweezers close it. You've got to keep the glue off your tweezers. That's the big thing. Because if the glue gets on your tweezers, it can really mess you up. So in between using my tweezers, I've been cleaning it with a wet wipe like this. But check it out, we got that K completely traced out, and I'm going to bring it up to the camera so you can see the side. Look at that, isn't that neat? Now we're just going to fill it with some pretties, and I'm not going to get too detailed. I'm just going to make some swirls and maybe some loose flowers and put inside, and I think it will be cute. So I'm going to start with some of the pink, and I'm going to swirl just one curl on one full strip. Just see what we can get here. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. Again, I'm just going to play and see what I get. Because I'm using the thinner of the quilling strips, I think I can use more of the paper and get kind of loose looking curls and things like that. So I made this curl, and it's a little bigger than I want. So I'm just going to maneuver it in my hands and trim off what I don't. That's not wasted. I can totally use that in a few minutes. And then I can continue to tighten this down like I want it to be. And then glue that closed. Then I'm just going to find a spot to start and stick that in just like that. Put some glue under it. And then place that down. I'm going to let these have the feel of roses, but not really be roses, obviously. I'm not doing like an actual rose. Just going to let them feel like that. This is the piece that I took off of that last one. I'm going to curl it up again. And I'm going to let it be a smaller one next to this. If you look online, if you look at quilled letters and things like that, there are some that are really, really detailed. And then there are some that you just get to kind of play with when you fill them up. And kind of what you get is what you get. And that's kind of what I'm doing. Make this a little bit smaller. Something like this. We'll put it about right there. And I'm just going to dot my glue down here this time instead of on the actual piece. Just dot some down and stick it into it. I can always come back in and tack glue where I need to. I think I'll do an even smaller one here. So for this one, I'm going to cut about 3.5 or 4 inches. Not a whole lot of this one. Now I'm taking another long piece, and I'm just going to play with this one a little bit and see what I can get. I'm going to take it and put it in half because I don't need the whole strip. I'll tell you one thing. You will not waste product on this on quilling because you can use all of the strips that you get. It's really kind of cool. Actually, I think I'm going to do this in half and then in half again because I don't need one that long for what I'm going to do here. So that's one strip in 4 pieces. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to kind of soften this up again or just kind of break some of the fibers of the paper just a little bit. And in 2 directions. I want one to go this way and one to go this way. And I'm going to quill one end toward me and one end away from me. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to start here on this end. I'm going to start by quilling this end to the middle. So about there. Then I'm going to let that come out and not worry about it too much where it lands. And then I'm going to come to the other side and I'm going to quill it away from me. About to the middle again. And what you'll get is kind of this scroll work, this kind of S-shaped scroll. Let me lay that down. I think you'll see it better. See that kind of S shape? And I think that'll be pretty to put in and around in different places. Like up here in this area. I might even squeeze it in a little tighter. And the cool thing is because of the length I did it, I can separate them out even further. And then just kind of play around with the coil again and get it shaped like I want it. So if I wanted this coil to go further apart, oh, that's pretty like that. See? So you can like bridge gaps that way. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that one right there. This one I'm going to lay in this way. And I'm going to let it come around here, but I'm going to curl the end just a little bit. This is really like coloring with paper. That's what it reminds me of. You just make different swirls and different patterns, and then you just fill them into different spots to get the look you're going for. I think this will be pretty if that tucks into there and that comes around. So I'm going to glue that down. I'm going to take some of the green now and make some leaves. I kind of just want to show you all the pieces I'm thinking I'm going to fill in with, so I can just keep filling in and not have to let you, watch every single step. So I'm doing this again with the 4. So I'm making one strip into 4, and then I'm going to make it even more. I'm going to fold it another time because I'm not going to need really big leaves for this project. So go in here and separate everything out. And then I'm going to take one piece and I'm going to quill it, and then I'm going to make it into a leaf shape. So I'm going to put it into my quiller and start spinning. Just like this. And then I'm going to let it release to whatever size it goes to. That one went pretty small. That's okay because I'm going to need multiple sizes. And then I'm going to put a little glue on the end and go in and close it shut. Just like this. And then I'm going to pinch it into a leaf shape. And I actually only want the top of it to be in the point. So I'm going to hold it in my hand and pinch the top, but I'm not going to pinch the bottom. So I'm letting the bottom be round. Whoop, see that shape? Letting the bottom be round. It's a teardrop's what it is. And then I'm going to come in and decide where I want that to go. And I want it to be around the flowers. So something like that. I'll pick it up with my tweezers. Put a little glue down. I mean, this is just literally like coloring. Does that make sense? Like coloring with paper. I don't find any rhyme or reason to it. I just find that it's kind of fun to kind of fill things in places here and there. So there's one of those leaves. Let's do another one. Let that loosen up. Put a tiny dot of glue. Close it down. And then I'm going to do that pinch again and make it a teardrop. Then I think I'll put it on this side of the flower. Now I'm even going to take some pieces, and I'm not going to quill them at all. I'm just going to take one of those pieces and I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm just going to kind of open it up and make like a V shape. And on one end, I'm just going to put the paper between my fingers and kind of break the fibers, kind of bend it, okay? And then I'm going to bend the other side away from me to kind of make like a soft V. You can do this with your bone folder too. So see, I've got that little shape. And then I'm just going to find a place to add it. I'm going to show you something you can do to kind of fill in spaces. Like if you have a big space to fill in, you can kind of take just a strip and just kind of let it land where it lands. Like if I want to take this one and kind of run across here, I'm going to trim it for the length I want it, something about like that. Then I'll show you what I mean. Like if I started up here in this corner and glue it down in that top section, and I'm going to tell you something. You guys know I'm a shaker, so if I can do this, just about anybody can do this because I shake like crazy. I'm going to put some glue here where it connects to the K. And I'm just using little dots of glue. And then I'm going to tuck this in and glue it where it lands. That tucked in perfect. And then I'm just going to come in underneath and put little dots of glue to hold it in place. This glue dries, you know, clear and matte, and it's going to go away. You're not going to see it. I'm not going to stress about it if you do see a little bit of glue because it'll be so pretty you won't even notice it. The big thing I think is to try to keep the curves. No like bends or sharp edges. Then see, I can come up next to it and do another one, and I think I'll do it in the blue instead of that color. And again, I'm just kind of doing a curve with my fingers to get it started. Okay, and then I can do like a little test if I want to see how big I need this piece to be. I don't need it to be very big at all. So I'm going to cut this loose. And I think I'll start down here since I'm not really sure where it's going to land. So I'll put it into this little bend right there. And then wherever it touches the green is where I'm going to glue it into place. This is where tweezers come in real handy. So I'll put a little glue right here on this bend and catch that blue into there. I'm not worried about this piece because I can come back in and put a little swirl or anything right there to kind of hide that. But I like the way that kind of makes like the K arms go like this. So I think I'll do some coming down as well. Now I have to show you how I made this kind of cheater leaf. I got to show you this. So I folded down about 1/4 of an inch of green onto itself. Okay, like that. Then I folded that down again onto itself, like so, and then one more time. And so really I'm just folding like 4 little pieces together. Then I'm going to snip this off at the bottom. Here's what I've discovered about this. There's no rhyme or reason for this. I have looked online. I've tried to see if there's like, you know, formulas for doing this. There's just not. It's just play. It's just take paper, twirl it, and play. So I glued that down, and then what I'm going to do is take that and push it so it makes kind of an open leaf. If you can see that, let me lay it down on its side instead of the top. So see, it makes like an open leaf, and those look really good in here too. So I'm going to put a little dot of glue, pick it up with my tweezers, and I'm looking for the open end or the glued shut end, and I'm going to stick that down into this little crease here between the blue paper and the pink paper. The hardest part is getting used to reverse tweezers. If you don't use reverse tweezers a lot, that can be tricky because you have to do them the opposite. So you can just keep filling in and filling in. Now I think that's all I'm going to do inside my K, but now I'm going to bring some like swirlies out of it just to kind of be pretty. And I think this is really probably the coolest part to me. And for these, I'm not going to twirl them quite so tight. I think I'm even going to maybe just use a pin and just kind of wrap them around to get it started and see what we get. So I want these to be a little softer. So I'm just going to clean this strip up. It's a little bit wrinkly from being in the package. So I did that little twist with my bone folder. Now I'm going to come up here and do an actual quill. But I'm not pulling it really, really tight. I'm kind of being loose with it. Then I'm going to release it. See what I'm working with. And kind of have this come out of the K. Not there, maybe here. Now I've made this little swirly piece, and I'm going to put it, I think it's going to go here. It's kind of hard for me to decide. I think it's going to go right here, so I'm going to start here. The idea is this kind of blue line is going to kind of continue outside, and I'm going to set the line first. So I'm going to get this in so it kind of looks like it continues that blue line from the inside, and let that sit, and then I'll glue those guys where I want them. Take my tweezers and glue this together a little bit here. Then I can decide where to glue these little pieces down. Isn't that pretty how it carries out? It's so easy, y'all. This is so easy. I cannot wait for you to start playing with this, because you're going to be surprised how quickly and how easily you can do something like this. Let me show you how I made that piece. So I just tore a piece off, and I just folded it in half. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to fold it in half. I'm going to fold it a little off, so one piece is a little longer than the other. See that? Then I'm going to quill these opposite of each other. So this one I'm going to quill toward me, and then release. And I went almost all the way to the bend, and you'll see why in just a second. Then I'm going to quill this one all the way toward me, so they'll be going in opposite directions when they're done. So see, then you can loosen them and make them do anything you want. The first thing I'm going to do is glue this together, so I have a skinnier little line here. So squish that in and make it a little more specific, like so. And then I'm going to decide where it goes. I think I know where this one's going to go. I think I want it to come out of here a little bit, or maybe here. I'm going to glance. No, that's not the place. I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to glue this inside this blue piece that I have already here. Get that line set in there, like so. And then I'll move these little tendrils around again where I want them. They kind of look good like that, just coming right out. I think I'll glue them right there. Now, like we made these swirls, I'm making another one of those because I'm going to let it sit here and put a couple of leaves around it. And I think that's all I'm going to do. I think I'm going to call it done then. I don't want to overdo it. I'm trying to keep it very simple and very clean, and I'm afraid I can overdo it. But I don't know that you can overdo this, to be honest. I don't know if you can do too much. I think that'll be pretty to have this little kind of flower sitting here. And I'm just like making them and then rubbing some glue onto the page. Not much. You know, with art glitter, you don't need a lot. So I'm just kind of scratching some glue onto the page, letting that catch. Bring that in a little bit. There we go. So that it's touching. And then I'm going to make some of those leaves to go on either side. Now, I took the glass out of here because obviously it's dimensional on the other side. But I'm going to put the glass back. And the reason is I think it needs it for the thickness of this frame. So I'm just going to put the glass back in there. I'll peel this price sticker off. So get rid of that. And then we can put this guy back in. And now it will lock in nice and sturdy, because it needed that thickness for it to do that. So even though we're not going to have glass in it, there is glass in it. But look how pretty that is. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole thing. Maybe you see that? I think that is a beautiful gift for anybody. I think anyone would love to get that with their initial. You can make it bigger than I did. You could fill up the whole section. You can do anything you want. You could even do a lot more tendrils if you want to do some at the bottom. As a matter of fact, I might even, after putting it in the frame, maybe do a few more that kind of come down. But I don't know. I kind of like how it looks, and I don't want to overdo it. I want it to be simple and kind of pop. So there you go. A great gift idea. Now, when you wrap this, you want to be careful. You might want to lay something firm across the top that won't squish your pieces that you got down there. So wrap it very carefully to give it to somebody. But there you go, a quilling gift idea. I hope you enjoyed that. And guys, it is so easy. You just do your outline and then start to play. Just fill in anywhere you want, and you'll be surprised how quickly this will come together. I hope you enjoy this one. I can't wait to see what you guys do, because you always outdo me. You always do a better job. So be sure to share it with us over on our Facebook group, which is called Maymay Made It, and so did I. And also over on our customer gallery on our website called MaymayMadeIt.com. Thanks so much for watching. See you again real soon. Bye-bye.